So there's one stat on Spotify for artists that seems to confuse almost every single person I talk to, and then I realized that I didn't really understand it for a long period of time either, so I'm making a whole video about it. Might be overkill, but I think everyone is asking this question. So this all revolves around playlist ads. So I keep getting this question often, like in comments and on consultation calls, and that's why I'm talking about it. So playlist ads. You might think, okay, this is how many playlists I've been added to, and that's great because that's what that is. This is how many playlists you've been added to. And we can look at last 12 months, look at the life of the song. I've been added to 3,387 playlists total. The last 28 days, 437. Cool. But if I go to this playlist tab, now we see top 100 of 1008. And that's also confusing because why are these numbers different, right? Like this is the last 28 days. If I look at since 2015 for lifetime, this is top 65 of 2166. None of these numbers match the numbers that we saw here. If I get added to 3,387 here, surely lifetime, this number, I should have the same number here. But then what's the top? It's actually a lot simpler than you might think it is. So this is the number of playlists that your song is being added to. Okay? If you go into the playlist tab, these playlists are the playlists that you've gotten streams from. So in this case, it was added to 3,000 something playlists, but it's only gotten streams from 2,166 playlists. Next, top 65. So if we scroll all the way down here, you see that the lowest is two streams. And if you were to go on the mobile app, you would actually see a different description in there where it says that playlists will only show up on this list if they've gotten streams from 2 listeners. So this is kind of a privacy thing where they're only going to show you the specific playlist. One, if it's a public playlist, so if it's private, you're not going to see it on this list. It'll still show up if people streaming it in here, but it won't show up in the top 65 where you can see the actual playlist and click on it and go look at the playlist, unless it's public and it's getting streams from at least 2 different people. And then also, if I were to go into another song, or maybe, yeah, let's just back out here and go to a song that I know has been added to more playlists. Playlists, top 99, top 100. So in here it says top 100 and it caps it at 3. And that's because even if you have more than 100 that have more than 2 listeners, they cap it at 100. So you only see the 100 most streamed playlists that you can actually click and look at. So in a nutshell, playlist ads, number of playlists you've been added to, this bigger number, how many playlists you've gotten streams from, and this smaller number, how many that are public, have more than 2 listeners that have listened to them, and it caps at 100 total playlists. Now, while I have you here, I'm going to teach you some more stuff about playlists, but Apple Music playlists. Usually in Apple Music for Artists, there's no way to see what playlists you've been added to, but on DistroKid Stats, you actually can see some metrics for this. And DistroKid's also the sponsor of this video. I'm going to get into them more in a sec. But this is a cool thing that I didn't know existed until like 4 years or 5 years of using DistroKid, something like that. So on here, I just went to Stats at the top. So like normally when you upload music to DistroKid, you go here, you click on Stats, it'll default to Spotify and show you some Spotify stats. This data is just kind of like standard data you get on Spotify for artists. But if you go to Apple Music and click Display, it's going to start generating all of those numbers. And this is all kind of cookie cutter stuff you'd expect. Streams over time, customize the time frame, streams per week, streams by month. And then we get to age. So we can see the age distribution. And we get gender. Streams by country. So like some of this data, it's already starting to give us some new stuff, right? We get some extra demographic data. But then we get to the cool part. So we talked about what the numbers mean in Spotify for Artists for playlists. Let's talk about these. So you get you get devices. So here we can see how many streams are coming from mobile, how many are coming from desktop, and how many are coming from voice. So it's so dramatic what percentage is mobile. It's 98%. We also get skip rate on Apple Music. Not really skip rate, but listening stats. So how many people completed a stream, manually changed, skipped, paused. I don't really know the definitions of these, but it's very cool to be able to see these numbers. Offline versus online streams. So people can download music, right, and listen. So most of it's online, which makes sense. Streams by source. And this is a little useful. So there's library, discovery, search, now playing, and voice. So most of the streams are coming from library, which I'm guessing means they're going to the song, adding it to their library, and then listening on their library long term. Could be wrong about that though. Discovery, I feel like, would be from your ads directly. And that lines up kind of what you would expect with ads. Most of the streams come from recurring listeners as well. Then we get streams by type, and this is the kind of playlist thing I'm talking about. So they have streams by type: album, single track, radio station, and playlist. So there's a few different things this could be. Like anyone listening to your song, that's what this is. Anyone listening to your song in an album, that's what this is. But this would be someone either adding it to their own playlist, or you sending someone to a playlist that you've made on Apple Music and them streaming your music on that playlist. Or maybe an Apple Music editorial algorithmic playlist. And they do also have radio stations, which is apparently a tiny sliver. But I'm really surprised at what a high percentage of streams are coming from playlist. And I didn't know DistroKid had this information because Apple Music for Artists does not have this information. So, as I said, DistroKid is a sponsor of this video. It felt like a natural way to talk about them. So if you don't know about DistroKid, they're a music distribution service, and they can get your music on every store you can think of. It's a crazy number. Like all of these are stores. So that includes like Spotify, Apple, Tidal, Deezer, YouTube. You can do Content ID as well. Tidal, I don't know if I said that. iTunes, yada, yada, yada. The list goes on. Originally, the reason why I chose them is because they were really affordable compared to everything else that's around, and that still applies today. For $39.99 a year, you can get unlimited music for 2 artists. You can schedule your releases, do waterfall strategies, and get all the other perks that DistroKid has. So just plain lyrics, sync lyrics, Vizzy, Marcel, Hyperfollow, yada, yada, yada. They have the bank feature. I just showed you the stats that they have, and then they also have a really good splits payment system. And as you can see, this isn't like a random sponsorship thing. I've been using them for a long time, and I've never had an issue. Like my first release was back here. 2018? 2018, yeah. So, yeah, I highly recommend them. Thanks to DistroKid for sponsoring this video. And now the next time you're looking at your Spotify for Artists playlist numbers, you won't be so confused anymore. So thank you very much for watching. If you want to learn about how I like to promote my music using Facebook ads, specifically on Spotify and Apple Music, you can check out this playlist right here for a ton of videos that I have in this channel. And if you prefer a more organized course for how to do that same exact thing, I have my course right here with access to a community, my country list, and the entire course itself. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you next video. Bye.